My name is Jennifer Tucker, and I'm the Executive Director of Parks and Recreation here in West Bloomfield. We're so happy to have you with us here today, and it is my distinct honor to introduce to you the West Bloomfield Fire Chief, Greg Flynn. Greg has actually sent me his resume, so let me find that here on my desk. See if I can get this. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is the section I need. So happy to be able to share with you a few things about Greg and his long list of achievements. But I will just do a couple highlights for you. So Greg has been involved in the community for many years, and as fire chief has many accolades and completed an enormous amount of education in his commitment to the fire profession. But the one I want to bring to your attention is in 2019, Greg completed the National Fire Academy Executive Officer Program. That is a very long and extensive program that he has definitely shown commitment to our community in completing. And we're very proud to have such an esteemed, accomplished fire professional in our midst. Also, Greg was the lead in our Emergency Operations Center that led us through COVID here in the township. As a part of the EOC, as we affectionately called it, we were able to mitigate some of the effects that the pandemic has had on our community. Also, I don't want to short his community service. Greg is also the current president of the Optimist Club here in West Bloomfield. So he is not only here to serve our residents, but also to serve our community as a whole. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you a friend of yours and a friend of mine, Greg Flynn.
Thank you, Director Tucker. Jennifer and her team do an excellent job maintaining the over 580 acres of parks and trails throughout West Bloomfield. I know that many of us want to extend our gratitude to our WB Parks team for keeping these natural sanctuaries clean and accessible for all of us to enjoy. Having the opportunity to attend many government and service group meetings in and around the township, I have listened to person after person share their appreciation for our parks. Our parks represent a place for promoting physical health, a place to come together as a community, a place to share time with others and communicate, a place for athletic challenges that mentor leadership across a lifetime, a place that attracts people, thereby attracting business and commerce. Our parks create an awesome vibe in our community. The positive vibrations from our parks are amplified by our schools, community groups, and faith-based organizations. The optimistic atmosphere is magnified by our businesses, restaurants, and culture. The feeling of safety and wellness is intensified by our healthcare providers, police officers, and firefighters. Each October, the West Bloomfield Fire Department hosts the annual Fire Open House in coordination with Fire Prevention Week. While our community's commitment to health and wellness prevented us from gathering at Fire Station 1 this year, I'm so pleased to be part of the Chamber's Community Vibe event. In 1925, President Calvin Coolidge proclaimed Fire Prevention Week a national observance, making it the longest-running public health observance in our country. Fire Prevention Week is observed each year during the week of October 9th in commemoration of the Great Chicago Fire, which began on October 8th, 1871, and caused devastating damage. The horrific conflagration killed more than 250 people, left 100,000 homeless, destroyed more than 17,400 structures, and burned more than 2,000 acres of land. Great progress has been made in reducing the death and injury from fire. Innovation in building materials, improvements in building codes, and public education have all contributed to the reduction in loss of life. However, death from fire has not been eliminated. To date, 94 people have died in 79 fires in our state. This is a 21% increase over 2019, and with more than 2 months yet to go in 2020. Across Michigan, the #1 cause of structure fires is smoking, responsible for 51% of the fires. My intentions for sharing these statistics are to illuminate the real risk of fire in our community. In 2019, the fire department responded to 37 structure fires, and we have already responded to 38 structure fires in 2020. Fires contained to a cooking container accounted for an additional 34 fires in 2019 and 21 additional fires in 2020. Careless cooking in the kitchen, garage, basement, and outdoor grill are the leading cause of fire in West Bloomfield. Additionally, we see fires caused by the improper disposal of fireplace ashes and charcoal. Fire remains a real risk in our community. Teaching you and your loved ones about fire safety is an important role of the fire department. Using our smokehouse trailer, firefighters travel around the township to elementary schools teaching kids fire safety tips like stop, drop, and roll if your clothes catch on fire, stay low in smoke, and always have 2 ways out. These, along with other safety tips, are life lessons that will pay dividends at any age. Here are a few more tips that you can use to reduce the risk of fire in your home.
Hello, I'm Dave DeBoer, Deputy Fire Marshal of West Bloomfield Fire Department. Today we're going to talk about home fire safety. Come join me. Perhaps the single most important piece to your home fire safety plan is a working smoke detector. Test your smoke detectors once a month and replace the batteries twice a year when you change your clocks. Those 2 things can help ensure you get the early warning that you need to get out of a home fire. Smoke alarms are needed on every floor or every level of the home, outside of sleeping areas, and inside every bedroom in order to give you the protection you need and the early warning necessary to get out when there's a fire. It's vitally important that you and your family have and practice a home exit drill. Today's fires are burning faster than ever, and the time you have to get out is shrinking by the day. Each exit plan must have 2 ways out of every room in the house. A bedroom like this needs those 2 ways out. One is obviously the door. The other is typically an egress window. If you can't get out the door, if you check the door with your hand and feel that it's hot or smoke's coming in from that door, exiting out this window would be the other option. That's something that must be practiced. If you're on a first level like we are today, it's easy to get out and drop to the ground. If you're on a second floor, you may have to plan for that and figure out another way out or another option to get out, like a ladder or a rope ladder or something. Those items need to be practiced safely. We certainly don't want you to practice it and have someone fall out the window, but know how to use those devices. Ladders are a great option, but they're difficult to use and must be practiced. Once out of the house, you go to your meeting place, and that meeting place is just as important as the rest of this process. You've got to have one location for the family, whether it's a tree or the mailbox or the neighbor's front porch, whatever it is, make sure the whole family knows and practices that location, because that's the first question we're going to ask when we arrive is everybody out? You're our priority. The house we can replace, we can't replace you. Once you get out and get to your meeting place, stay out. Never go back in. If there's something important in there or somebody's unaccounted for, the best thing you can do is tell the firemen where you last saw that person or that item, and we can go in and get that for you. We have the equipment and the protective stuff to do that. You don't. One of the leading causes of home fires in the United States and the greater West Bloomfield area is cooking fires. Your kitchen is the heart of the home. It's where you spend a lot of time, and obviously cooking for your family is one of the things you do the most here. There's a couple items to keep in mind when you're cooking. Panhandles that stick out are a leading cause of injuries, scalds and burns from people bumping pans. When you can just turn that handle out of the way, you'll reduce that risk. The other thing that happens that we see a lot as fire investigators is too many things near the stove. Let's move combustible items like mail or other storage away from the cooking surface. So if something does go wrong, it has a harder time spreading to other things. Cooking with grease or oil, anything that gives off has any grease or oil or animal fats to it could turn into a fire. Never walk away from your pan. Watch what you're cooking, stay with it. Even a short little step away from the pan could cause you to have a house fire, and they spread very, very quickly. If there is a fire in the pan, the quickest, easiest, and safest way to stop that fire is to take that pan lid that you have out on the counter with it and just slide it over that pan, turn the stove off, and you're done. You can then safely slide that off that hot burner, and you've removed that hazard without even using a fire extinguisher. If you do need to use a fire extinguisher, where's that fire extinguisher at? Is it hidden under the cabinet? Is it in another room? Is it too small to be actually useful to you? We'll look at that in a second. So you go to your kitchen cabinet to get the extinguisher, but if your extinguisher blends in with everything or is packed way in the back, it'll take time to get to, and that's time you don't have. In this case, we have a small aerosol extinguisher that looks just like the other aerosol items in there. Perhaps having an extinguisher would be better, one that you can clearly see as an extinguisher and up front where you need it. Each year, there's more than 2,900 dryer fires that lead to structure fires in the United States, and over $35 million in property damage is the result. A few things you can do to keep your dryer safe are don't store anything around it that's combustible. If something goes wrong and there is a fire in here, this box that's metal will hold that fire for a little while and keep it from spreading. But if you store things on it, it's going to spread that fire more quickly. The next thing to do is always use your lint trap and make sure you clean it in between every use. Having a clean lint trap in place stops the lint from building up in your exhaust vent where fires start most commonly. Your vent pipe around behind here should be a rigid pipe all the way out to the exterior with no screws into that rigid pipe. Tape the joints rather than put screws in them. Anything that can hang up that lint is going to build up lint faster. Or if you have a soft metal one that crunches down or gets damaged by people moving the dryer, it's going to build up lint faster and lead to, one, more energy use because the dryer is going to take longer to dry your clothes, but it'll also build up that combustible lint faster, and it could lead to a dryer fire. Fall is upon us, and it's time to start heating in Michigan. Fireplaces are a great way to have not only the ambiance you want, but the heat you get from the fireplace. Before you start your fireplace this season, please have a chimney sweep come and inspect and clean your fireplace. Each year, we see fires caused by damaged flues where fire can escape the flue and go into attics or other spaces in the home and lead to fires. Animals can also make nests in your chimney. By having that inspection done, you'll ensure you have a safe fireplace to use. One other thing that comes with the holidays is candles. Candles can start fires, obviously, and we see those candle fires every year. Having ones that are battery operated can give you the same feel and the same look without the risk. Thanks again for spending some time with us. I'm Dave DeBoer, Deputy Fire Marshal, West Bloomfield Fire Department. And remember, fire is everyone's fight.
Thank you, Dave. The role of the fire department is not limited to prevention and extinguishment of fires. Our role is much broader and involves reducing risk community-wide. Initiatives that are examples of community risk reduction include community-wide trainings on naloxone or Narcan administration for remedy of an opioid overdose, CPR training for the treatment of sudden cardiac arrest, and preparation for a medical emergency with our File of Life program. The department also participates in the Knoxbox system. Knox Rapid Access Solution provides first responders with immediate access into secure buildings, residents, and commercial properties when it matters most. Having key access removes the need to force entry, reduces injuries to the responders, and minimizes property damage. You may have seen these small brown boxes as you enter a business. Please know these boxes are also available in a residential model. When community risk reduction is embraced by the entire community, calls for service at the fire department should decline. Community risk reduction is a process of identifying and prioritizing local risks. Once identified, the fire department works with stakeholders in the community, provides education, and may recommend the township board implement ordinances to prevent and reduce the community's risk exposure. Our residents, business owners, and guests to the township all play a part in our community risk reduction team. Teamwork is the keystone that provides support and stability to the fire department. Your fire department is comprised of 99 operations and administrative staff. 88 of those team members are assigned to fire operations. They are the women and men you see shopping at Kroger in the morning, passing you on Orchard Lake Road on the way to a call for service, or providing compassionate and life-saving care to a family member in your front room. Deployed from 6 fire stations positioned throughout the 4 communities served by the WBFD, these fire stations are staffed 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I am proud of the men and women of the West Bloomfield Fire Department, and you can be too. Your firefighter paramedics plan and prepare every day to be ready to respond to the expected and unexpected needs of our residents. Planning for the expected is a concept that most of us can easily wrap our heads around. But planning for the unexpected, what does that look like? Your fire department has specialized teams within the department. The hazardous materials team responds to chemical spills and dangerous substances in your home, on the streets, and on our lakes. The technical rescue team trains for high-angle rescue, trench rescues, and building collapse. The department partners with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 1721, on our Honor Guard team for ceremonies and special events in our community. The talents of your firefighters don't stop there. A new and emerging group is our peer support team. These specially trained firefighters care for the caregivers. An internal support team to help maintain the emotional and behavioral health on and off the job. Each of these teams are able to link into a network of similar teams via our mutual aid group called Oakway. No single community can be prepared to address a call for service surge or a localized high casualty event alone. That is when we lean on our mutual aid partners. The Oakway Mutual Aid Group is comprised of 10 Oakland County communities: West Bloomfield, Birmingham, Bloomfield Township, Farmington Hills, Ferndale, Madison Heights, Rochester Hills, Royal Oak, Southfield, and the communities served by the Waterford Regional Fire Department. The West Bloomfield Special Teams collaborate with Oakway Special Teams to provide additional firefighters, paramedics, hazmat operators technical rescue technicians, and peer support counselors in a time of crisis. In just minutes, West Bloomfield can more than double the size of our resources with our colleagues from Oakway. That's teamwork. Building our team has been a growing challenge. Fewer people appear to be interested in joining public safety careers. I want to encourage those considering the opportunity to serve the citizens of West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, and Sylvan Lake as a police officer, dispatcher, or firefighter paramedic. These public servant positions are rewarding, dynamic, and provide wonderful compensation and benefits. We are seeking a diverse group of candidates that are honest, self-motivated, compassionate, knowledgeable, and kind. Meeting the qualifications will take some time and effort on the candidate's part, but the investment in yourself will pay dividends in a career of public service. So what does that investment look like? One of the steps one will have to take is attendance at an EMS academy. One of those is right here in Oakland County in Auburn Hills at Oakland Community College. There, they'll learn to become an emergency medical technician, progress through state testing, and move on to a paramedic class and paramedic certification through the state of Michigan. After becoming a paramedic, they can attend the Oakland Fire Academy. The Oakland Fire Academy is about an 11-week program where they will learn everything they need to know about basic firefighting. With those two skill sets, we're able to create the future of the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Some of the candidates may come with that training already, and we are anxious to talk to those individuals. You must be at least 18 years of age to apply. We'd like a clean background check on those folks. Again, Michigan Firefighter 1 and 2 certification is preferred, but the township is so anxious to get the best and most anxious and eager to serve the community that we will send you to the Fire Academy. The paramedic license, with the support of the township board, no longer is a requirement at the time of employment. If you're in paramedic school, if you're close to completing your paramedic training and taking the state certification, we'd love to provide you a seat at the interview table. Your CPR and advanced cardiac life support certifications are also preferred. The hazardous materials training is something that you would get in the Fire Academy. Again, a clean driving record, and we will be putting candidates through a physical assessment with a township physician. Working for the township is a great thing, and I would encourage those that are interested to apply today. One of our most common calls for service at the fire department is for emergency medical care. Our EMS calls for service comprise nearly 80% of the services we provide to our residents. The West Bloomfield Fire Department possesses the highest level of pre-hospital care licensure in the state. Our operations plan provides for 6 paramedic ambulances in the township. These units respond with some of the most current technology in cardiac, stroke, and trauma care. Frequent training and updates on equipment and treatment protocols assures our team of providers are prepared to address your medical emergencies. Partnering with our base hospital, Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, our shared goal is to provide positive outcomes for those under our care. We are able to achieve great outcomes because of the support from the communities we serve. Tax dollars allocated to purchase life-saving equipment, renewing our fleet of response vehicles, and investing in the maintenance and updating of our facilities contribute to meeting the expectations of our customer, you. While the tools, vehicles, and buildings are important to the operation of the department, nothing is more essential than our people. The women and men that proudly wear the WBFD patch. Your support over the decades has been unwavering. Your support during the pandemic has been resolute. The yard signs, the thank you notes, the meals bought from local restaurants have truly lifted the spirits of your firefighters, police officers, and dispatchers. I want to share my sincere gratitude on behalf of all first responders in the township. The novel coronavirus continues to impact nearly every facet of our daily life. There's an abundance of guidance and recommendations available to everyone as it relates to disease transmission mitigation, prevention, and treatment. The guidance from your local officials has generally remained consistent since early March. Cover your cough, wash your hands, and keep physical distance between you and others when possible. I want to thank those that are doing everything you can reasonably do to stop the spread. From educators to entertainers, construction workers to counselors, from baristas to barbers. Thank you for opening and operating your businesses safely. Thank you for creating a clean environment for people to enjoy a nice meal or a hot cup of coffee. Regardless of the national narrative, we influence how the Lakes area will navigate the pandemic. I encourage each of you to use kindness as a compass to guide our interactions with neighbors, customers, and students. Lead with gratitude and celebrate the positives we see each and every day around us. As cold weather approaches and the holiday season draws closer, each of us need to continue our commitment to remaining vigilant about preventing the spread of the virus. We may all be vulnerable to a growing sense of fatigue related to COVID-19 issues. You are not alone. You should know that reaching out and talking to a friend, a pastor, or a counselor is healthy. Free mental health resources are available at michigan.gov/stay well. It truly is an honor to be your fire chief and to lead an organization of nearly 100 employees providing emergency and non-emergency care to over 70,000 residents of the 4 communities served by the WBFD. It truly is, again, a pleasure to be here at the Vibe event and share some safety tips with you as we move into the winter months in the career opportunities that the township offers for all public safety, police, fire, and dispatch. Thank you, Dave, for the opportunity to present here today.
Chief Greg Flynn, thank you very much. I just got a text from Chief Mike Patton of the police department. He says the fire department is the second best department in the West Bloomfield Township area.
You know, when
just kidding, it did not. No, black
if they only could have tested a little higher, Dave, then they would have been on the fire department, right?
Hey, it's you guys do a great job, and my friends, the fire department, nothing less than hero status any time of the year, in any condition, pandemic or not. But especially right now, and you mentioned earlier when you got here today in our Civic Center TV studios that this is where we sat and began this conversation about COVID-19, in the spring. And we've been through an amazing ride here. Your department has done a great job, along with so many other people here in West Bloomfield, to help us get through this pandemic. We've gone from no knowledge at all to everyone staying at home, to the hospitals being overwhelmed, to a summer with a bit of a lull, and now we come back to a fall with some of the biggest peaks we're seeing around the country. What are your thoughts about this whole period of time, and any additional, you've read your presentation here, but any additional personal thoughts and advice you have for folks right now?
Well, Dave, it is always a bit of a risk giving one's personal thoughts when it comes to COVID, because it seems like so much of the conversation always ties back to some kind of political affiliation or tie. And one of the things, I guess, before I answer that I want to compliment your staff on is that's never been the approach through the megacast and the conversations that we've had on the megacast and the conversations you've had with the real professionals, the local content experts that you can bump into, well, maybe 6 feet apart from at the grocery store.
As we are right now, right.
But that's the real value. And I would say, and I listened to Dr. Chen's section here earlier today, the breakout, which was very informative. And I would encourage people to visit when that video is up. But the professionals are telling the same thing that we said back in March. Disease transmission, we do understand it. We know how it happens. We know how these viruses are transmitted. And Dave, we sat right there at that table and we said, stay a little bit apart from one another. Wash your hands, cover your cough. these are the things that we want you to do. And they're still saying that today because that's what works.
Thank you for your kind words. We don't want to get political here at all. And there doesn't need to be politics. We all just need to take care of each other and do the right thing. And then having the professionals, the amazing professionals that we have here in West Bloomfield really, really helps. And I know without the ability to have an open house this year because of COVID-19, we're all going to miss coming over to Fire Station number 1 and being with you. But I thought this is a really good opportunity to remind the community not only about COVID-19, but how important all of these things that you need to do in your home to protect you, your family, and your friends and neighbors. So
it really is the fighting fire and the risk of fire is a year-round effort. We highlight it in October, but it's our fight year-round, and we appreciate the opportunity to join you here today with all the topics that you're covering. We're just really thrilled that fire prevention and risk of fire is part of those topics.